Kupp is sidelined indefinitely with a hamstring injury. Despite what Bill Plaschke writes, the Dodgers did not lose the trade deadline, and the Galaxy make a trade to finally add some scoring punch. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is August 2nd, 2023. We reached a milestone on this channel last night. We passed 500 subscribers. Thank you. Thank all of you for getting in on the ground floor. It means a lot to me. I created this show to keep myself from going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs when I work on the road. This is what makes me happy. Thank you for following along. And by the way, a special thank you to the Dodger fans. I see you. I appreciate you. And if you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And comment. There's always good stuff to talk about when it comes to LA sports. So before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. Dodgers 7, Oakland 3. Lance Lynn allows 3 solo home runs in his Dodgers debut. But Freddie Freeman goes 4 for 5 with 2 runs and RBI. Mookie Betts homers. LA reaches 60 wins on the season. Meanwhile, Nanika Ogumike scores 20, but the Sparks, they dropped their second in a row to New York, 76-69. Meanwhile, today, Oakland's at the Dodgers at 7 o'clock. Tony Gonsolin is 5-4 with a 4.25 ERA. Hogan Harris, that's a very macho name, sir. You're 2-5, though, with a 6.07 ERA. And Juarez is at LAFC at 7:30. This is the round of 32 in that goofy little Leagues Cup tournament. If you're curious, LAFC missed pool play because the creators of the tournament gave a pass to the champions of both MLS and Liga MX. Are you like me? Do you really appreciate the unending optimism from Sean McVay and the Rams coaching staff? McVay, with all his energy, he is so optimistic he could actually talk your scalp into regrowing hair. It's crazy how optimistic he is. But there's not a lot of optimism when you're like, I don't know. Which is exactly his response when he was asked why star wide receiver Kupp left practice yesterday after one-on-one receiver drills. That wasn't optimistic. We eventually find out late last night, that it was a hamstring issue, but there is no timetable for his return. According to ESPN, he might be sidelined for the rest of the month. And for those of us who are blessed with a calendar in our offices, that's a long bleeping time. To say Kupp is integral to the Rams' fortunes this year and every year, frankly, is an understatement. He's now 30. He's had a major injury twice previously in his career, and each time the Rams' offense was not the same without him. When he was injured back in 2018, LA did make the Super Bowl, yes, but they lost to the Patriots primarily because Bill Belichick didn't have to scheme in order to stop him, along with stopping Todd Gurley and stopping Jared Goff. It was a much easier task. It was an extremely low-scoring Super Bowl because the Rams weren't in full strength. Last year, Kupp was on a pace for more than 141 receptions. Then he was injured halfway through the year. LA winds up with only 5 wins. So Cooper Kupp, hamstring issue, possibly out until September. That is a trip. Now, by the way, in yesterday morning's report, we talked about how important it is for the Rams to keep Matthew Stafford healthy. Stafford was given a rest day yesterday, which means the backup quarterbacks ran the show in 11-on-11 drills, and the defense dominated. The defense dominated. A defense that is pretty much Aaron Donald and 10 randos. No disrespect to said randos, but let's be real. Aaron Donald is the only reason LA will stop anybody at any time this year. McVay was nonplussed. And by the way, he should be nonplussed. What happened to the Rams after Stafford was injured last year? Do you remember that ridiculous revolving door of quarterbacks? Bad day for Sean McVay, let's be real. You start the day sounding like Tony Robbins, you end the day sounding like Bill Burr. Now, as for the Dodgers, we still do not have a solid idea as to what the hell is wrong with DH JD Martinez. Dave Roberts hinted at an injured list stay if things don't improve. He left Sunday's game, he being Martinez, without even taking an at-bat. The original idea was it was his hamstring. They gave him an MRI. Now Dodger brass is wondering if it's his lower back, if it's his groin. Guys, I work in healthcare now. You go to see a doctor and the idea is to eliminate what could be going on, not add body parts. So, yow, that's not cool. Yesterday, I posted a trade deadline recap. You can catch it now on the Dodgers playlist if you haven't seen it. There was an additional move yesterday that was super late, barely registered. You had to really go look for it. The type of news that doesn't even deserve somebody telling you, cool story, bro. Basically, it's Eddie's Leonard sent to Detroit for cash considerations. For those of you who are new to the channel, and we did add a lot of subscribers yesterday, I want you guys to know I'm a former sports writer. I've been in the press box. I've met a lot of scribes. And that's why Bill Plaschke of the LA Times disappoints me a lot. He used to write using solely his head. He would build a logical case in his columns. But ever since he started getting into ESPN's Around the Horn, he has just taken his logic and drowned it in a sea of emotion. Everything is emotional. Everything. And the reason for that is because TV wants you to be emotional. Watch news channels. Look how emotional they get. Emotion sells on TV. It's drama. And I would argue he probably sees TV as his meal ticket. How many times has the LA Times been up for sale over the last decade? So anyway, the reason I bring it up is Plaschke talking about the Dodgers trade deadline keeps using exclamation points instead of rational points. His reaction to the trade deadline yesterday, trade deadline debacle! Exclamation points. This was a month after he was writing about what he wanted the Dodgers to do for the trade deadline. Add starting pitching, add an ace pitcher. Now! Exclamation points. But Plaschke then lists 4 starting pitchers who the Dodgers could have gotten. And then a couple of paragraphs later, he concedes the Dodgers couldn't have gotten Justin Verlander, that they couldn't have gotten Eduardo Rodriguez because they exercised their no trade clauses, that you can't force somebody to come with you. This is not like a junior high school crush breakup. You can't force somebody to like you. Then he also conceded that Max Scherzer, a third option, ran out of gas when he pitched for the Dodgers a couple of years ago. So he basically set up an argument with a bunch of emotion, and then when the logical side got the better of him, he admitted that the Dodgers had no chance at getting those 3 guys. He opened his column with exclamation points and killed it with question marks. So, Bill Plaschke's opinion doesn't mean squat when it comes to the Dodgers and the trade deadline. What I can tell you is that CBSSports.com gave grades for every team. They pretty much liked what the Dodgers did. They just didn't love it. So they gave LA a B grade. ESPN labeled them as one of the quote-unquote winners on trade deadline day. The Athletic didn't call the Dodgers neither a winner or a loser. So if you take a step back, if you just basically push Bill Plaschke and his drama off to the side, what you get is an okay trade deadline that kind of moves the needle, but it doesn't make the Dodgers world title contenders like that. And that is a fair assessment. We don't want to blindly happy talk the trade deadline, by the way, because the scribes cornered Andrew Friedman, and he said that he was under the impression the Eduardo Rodriguez trade with Detroit was as good as done until the player shockingly invoked his no trade clause. Quote, "We thought it was done and then learned that it wasn't," Friedman said. As for the other deals, Friedman said 2 things. One, that they knew Justin Verlander preferred to return to Houston. The destination Verlander wanted was something the Dodgers could not control. The second thing was something that we noted on this channel just last week, that the market for mid-level starting pitching was completely out of whack. That starting pitching was so precious in this particular market that in order for a team to acquire anybody, you had to overpay. Switching gears, in MLB, when it comes to trades, there are buyers and sellers. In MLS, on the other hand, there's literally no point in selling. What are you going to do with those trades? Stockpile draft picks? Why would you do that? It's an international league. American colleges aren't playing good soccer. Not international quality soccer, of course not. So if you are a Galaxy fan, as I am, you should be absolutely stoked that they acquired winger Diego Fagundes yesterday from Austin FC in exchange for backup midfielder Memo Rodriguez and something called GAM. I know it's general allocation money. I have no idea what that means. It is a terrific deal on a number of levels, not the least of which is that it means the Galaxy are not surrendering the season. And that was a legit fear. They lost 3 of their leaders to knee injuries for the rest of the year, and they have been out of the playoff hunt for much of the year. It's also a good trade for the Galaxy because it gives Ricky Puig someone to target on offense. Puig is more of a facilitator than he is a striker. We have about a week of Chargers training camp in the books, and if you're looking for someone who to be impressed with, people who cover the Bolts are surprised at the progress of cornerbacks J.C. Jackson and Jasir Taylor. Now, you would think Jackson would be extremely limited early on after rupturing his patellar tendon halfway through last year, but they have thrown him into the deep end of the pool, and he's apparently hanging with wide receivers Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Taylor, meanwhile, is apparently moving into a starting role, replacing Bryce Callahan as the guy who covers slot receivers. And so he's been using that to basically get physical with whoever the Chargers line up opposite against him. So he's not afraid of the task. Tackle Rashawn Slater missed 15 games last year, but he looks like he can't wait for the season to start. They had one-on-one drills, offensive linemen, including Slater, versus defensive linemen. He held his own against edge rusher Khalil Mack. LeBron James and his wife are apparently having second thoughts about Bronny James at USC, according to the Daily Mail. Not whether or not he will attend USC, not whether or not he will play for USC, but they apparently want him to fully recover from the cardiac arrest that he suffered at a practice last month. Basically, the idea is, do we have him try to learn from home? Do we basically even consider delaying his entry into school so that his heart stays in recovery mode, right? No decision has been made yet, but I can't say that I blame him, right? I mean, it's your son, it's cardiac arrest. Take away the whole thing about draft picks and how USC's chances are and this, that, and the other. Who wants to bury their own kid? Not even LeBron James. This is smart. Give them some credit, give them some space. We do know that Bronny James will not join the Trojans on a European exhibition tour this month. Desmond Farmer, do you remember him? He played for USC back in the early 2000s. He is 5th on the school's all-time scoring list, and he has landed a job on Andy Enfield's coaching staff over at SC. Speaking of former Trojans, former Lakers guard Nick Young is a damn goofball. You know it. I know it. We all know it. The case for Nick Young being a goofball is longer than the number of indictments for former President Trump. Calling yourself Swaggy P is goofy. Prematurely celebrating missed three-point shots is goofy. Cheating on Iggy Azalea is goofy. Confessing to cheating on Iggy Azalea on a clip that goes on social media is goofy. And now he returns to his alma mater. Nick Young plays in a USC alumni game wearing jorts. Jean shorts. You heard me. He wore jorts All these other players from USC who went on to the NBA and they're taking things seriously. They want to show their alma mater that they respect USC, and Nick Young wore jorts. Dude was driving against the Mobley twins in the lane in jorts because he left his bell bottoms at home or something. Who knows? Nick Young, career goofball. There is a rule in Clippers practice. Shoot an air ball, you run laps. No exceptions. Except Kawhi Leonard. This is according to Paul George. Leonard shot an air ball at practice, and George quoted Leonard as saying, "I'm not running, it's basketball. I'm an air ball again. You're not about to coach me or teach me that airballing is not good. It's part of the game," unquote. You know, I admit it. I've said that there's a couple of things about Kawhi Leonard I don't like. I don't like load management. But I like this. What is this? An NBA team or an episode of The White Shadow? Coach Reeves saying laps, lots of them. What are we talking about? If it's Thorpe or Salami, yeah, they run laps. Not a two-time NBA champion. Let's be serious about this. Guys, you play your home game at Crypto.com Arena, not Carver High. Kawhi Leonard doesn't need to run laps over an air ball. We know what he's going to do. Former Clippers guard Patrick Beverley, by the way, said the team was on its way to winning the 2020 title until the COVID bubble, to which I say, but you didn't. You didn't. I lived in Hollywood. Do you know how many, when you live in Hollywood, do you know how many, oh man, I was this close to landing my dream gig stories I hear. I was this close every single day. I just wasn't good enough on the casting couch. Maybe if the Clippers were good enough on the casting couch, maybe they would have won the title in 2020. I don't know. The Lakers won it. Deal with it. Speaking of the Lakers, Max Christie turned a lot of heads during Summer League. I don't deny that. But how much of a difference does it really make? It's hard to say. But according to The Athletic, they want to see a little more from him because they wouldn't be surprised if he winds up being the team's 8th or 9th man this season. In other words, all of that advancement that he did in Summer League is cool enough to where he's definitely not G League, definitely a needed reserve, but not necessarily an every game player either. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Let me know if Cooper Kupp can get by and if the Rams could get by without him for a month. Tell me your reaction to Dodgers trade deadline day. And if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. I'll be back in Tulsa, Oklahoma tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.